everyone. Welcome back to a little bit of us, brilliant minds, brains, banter, and being human. I'm Olivia, and this is my loveliest friend.
Andrea.
What?
I don't
And
know if this is
today
a little bit of us. I feel like this is a lot of bit of us.
it is, it's a lot of exposure. Yeah, for sure. We are going to be talking a little bit today about, although I kind of like surprised Andrea with the topic a little bit, is we're going to be talking a little bit about mental health and AI and kind of our perspectives on it and what we've experienced and all that good stuff. It's quite like an up and coming topic for sure. And our little disclaimer, as always, we do this for a living. However, right now we are just trying to live. So do not come at us with your problems.
Somebody let us run a business. So, doing this
Did
professionally.
somebody, or did they just be like, okay, you can have a license?
Sometimes I wonder what actually happens at the Department of Licensing, the Department of
I think everyone kind of wonders that. I'm pretty sure
That's
people
very
that
true.
work there probably wonder that too.
They probably are switching to AI at this point.
Maybe they should, yeah. Maybe their processing times will get better. Ooh, DOH burn. Okay, so here's I think the first question out of the gate, which is, do you think AI will replace your job?
Ugh, my gut says no. And I think because see, I don't know. I don't know if I have like a legit answer to this because my gut just says no. Like it just
Well,
doesn't the advice that I'm seeing people talk to AI about and the things that it's saying is just ridiculous. Like I don't think it can ever get to the point where it's actually us. Like look at us.
can't be regenerated, can't be
No.
copied, can't be borrowed.
No.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think, I don't know. I really shouldn't have to give the caveat. This is my perspective. This is my bias, because this is literally the point of this flipping
Yeah,
podcast is my bias and
exactly.
perspective.
Correct.
I think that AI will ultimately, as much as it can learn and try, it will never feel truly relational in the like
Hmm.
biological sense that we experience a relationship and that like
Yes.
biological connection.
Hmm.
And so I think it could get good at giving feedback or input or synthesizing information or providing psychoeducation, like aspects of our role. But
Hmm.
the core of what I think our role is, this like relational human connection,
Yeah.
it cannot copy, I don't think.
Yeah. No, I think you touched on a really great thing is the biological piece that comes with relationships across the board,
Yeah.
right? Like we actually do have brain research and neurology that proves that
Right.
physical relationships, seeing an actual person impacts the way that we feel. Like it helps us regulate, it helps us identify emotions, like so many things. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind in this topic is the idea of mirror neurons. Like in
Mhm.
therapy school, we touched on mirror neurons so much, especially when working in person. And there's arguments out there that telehealth doesn't allow for that to happen, but I actually very much disagree with that. I think it still works with telehealth and over video. But basically, the idea of mirror neurons is when we watch someone, our brain kind of fires in a similar way with regards to emotion or the way that their body is reacting or things like that. And so AI can't emulate that. There's no way. That is a biological function that our brain has.
Yeah, I had a supervisee often call themselves a mammal, which I always like. I just found funny because like normally people just get like human person, whatever, and so they'd be like, "I'm just a fellow mammal with all the other mammals in the world," and like I bring it up because it to me it relates to what you're talking about. This idea that like we are mammals, like there is this like
Mhm.
biological aspect that AI just like cannot produce in the same way, just like for any other like actual animal like AI can't like parent or like mother
Mhm.
like I don't know, like a
Yeah.
chimpanzee or an elephant or whatever. Although
Yeah.
I'm gonna save this for the rabbit trail. Okay, I need to save that. It was about giraffes giving birth. Okay, that needs to get saved. Okay, logging that away. Logging that
Writing
away. Logging that away.
giraffes.
Okay, so I think it would also be interesting to talk maybe a little bit about where we have seen AI in our field up to this point, maybe for people that don't know, or maybe for people that are like curious about how AI is getting used in mental health. And at least how I've most commonly seen it is in, and I think a lot of people have probably already heard about this or maybe even seen this when it comes to like going to the doctor, because I know they're rolling it out at my doctor's office.
Yeah.
Is AI will listen to sessions and generate clinical notes for
Mhm.
therapists. But I was curious, do you know of any other way that AI is getting used in our field? Because I was trying to think about this, and I can't think of another way it's really getting used.
You know what? That's really interesting. If this topic hadn't been sprung on me last minute, I may have done some research. I'm just kidding.
I would never spring anything on you. Who was the heathen that did that? Wow.
Um, I think that I think that that is the primary way that our field uses it. I think there are two areas of AI and mental health that are very different that I think are important to address at some point too, which is like this idea of we can use it as a tool, doctors, we can use it in medical care, all of that, but then there is like the opposite of consumers using AI for mental health support,
Mm.
which is a totally different pathway. Um, and in this episode, you'll probably see our opinions differ very much on both. Like as far as I don't think there's anything totally wrong with using it for documentation and notes and things like that necessarily. It's not something that I feel comfortable doing or safe doing personally. Um, but I think a lot of the reason for that for me comes from the fact that I do my documentation very quickly already and I don't feel that it's necessary. And I also have seen so many
Mm.
like data breaches and hacks over the like
Oh,
system
yeah.
hacks over the last 10 years or whatever that I'm like, what if one of my recorded sessions just happens to be part of a data breach? I can't, I feel like there is a risk in that for myself.
Absolutely. And I know we've talked about this not super recently. I mean, there's benefits and drawbacks of specifically having AI support for documentation. I think
Hmm.
I think there's more drawbacks for me personally than I would say there are benefits. I think the benefit that I see is most of the clinician, not most, probably one of the most significant issues I see with clinicians in the field is around documentation in terms of either consistency, efficiency, or timeliness. Now, do not ask me why it's such a barrier for people. At the end of the day, you and I are the same about documentation. We're both really efficient. We're both really quick. We do our stuff. We dot our I's. We cross our T's. Right.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to understand or put myself in the shoes of somebody that really struggles with documentation. I can understand it from
Yeah.
some perspectives, but like I have not lived that, so I don't get it in the same way.
Hmm.
But that is a really significant barrier for people. And if, despite like multiple supports and multiple attempts and structure and accountability and all these things, if a clinician's still really struggling with documentation, that would be a situation in which I would maybe say, actually, I think like AI support for this would be helpful because then it would be done. It's taking
Yeah.
off some of that burden. But
Hmm.
I definitely wouldn't use it as a plan A for a clinician that's struggling with
Correct.
documentation
Yeah.
because there's like a strong chance that actually they're just seeing way too many clients and they're
Hmm.
burning out and they don't have time for documentation. And that's like that's not when we should be using
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah, I mean, documentation is a whole other topic that we could talk about, and might be really interesting for listeners too, to kind of know the background of what we do
Mm,
documentation wise. But you and I both take a very like teaching approach when it comes to working with people on their documentation, right? And like figuring out what works and what support systems are in there. But you and I are also very aware that like that can just be a workplace accommodation if it becomes too difficult to do your job, like, or if it becomes debilitating or hard, like that that can be a thing, like
yeah.
you're saying, not a plan A. I think that we all need to practice and get the skill of that documentation and using clinical language. um, and then on the other hand too, I actually was talking to someone today who uses AI note taker, who I know does a really good job with documentation because I was their supervisor. Like, and I know that their documentation is great. And they brought up a really good point that like it utilizes clinical language that they forget about all the time, and so it makes their notes like a little bit more insurance friendly, which is interesting because like that's how I was raised in the field, is how to make them insurance friendly. So that's just part of my
Mm.
system. So it's interesting to hear that feedback that like AI is pulling different clinical language that they might not like think about, but I think it touches a lot of feelings that I have about supervision and about schooling and how like that learning is
Training and
happening for me.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like
But I do
professional development, essentially. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And I think like if you're efficient enough already, like I think it takes me maybe a minute to write a note. If you're efficient, I don't need to use it. Like it would take me just as long to review the note and whatever. And but then it's like lingering in the ether somewhere and I don't like that. But yeah, it's a weird one. And like even I've seen my doctor use it and I'm oddly okay with that, but I think that's just like a different setting. I don't know. It feels different when it comes to what I do. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, the two main reasons why I would not use an AI support on notes, a lot of times it's called like AI note taker. So, if you hear me say that, that's what I'm referring to. One is along the same lines as you, which is a privacy piece, which is I really cannot ensure that a recording of a client session is actually deleted, and confidentiality and that privacy is incredibly important. I mean, not just in the field, obviously, that I think that kind of goes without saying, but like for me personally too, right? Like that privacy is really important. I cannot really ensure that that is happening. So I'm not, that doesn't sit well with me. The other piece, which I know I have mentioned before with you, is I see a lot of people turning to AI for advice and like life coaching or whatever the case may be. And because it's AI and it learns and it grows, if it listens to me and records sessions, it's going to learn how to be a better, quote unquote, like therapist.
So, this was part of the conversation I had with this person today. And I don't think we can guarantee that with all systems, but supposedly the AI system, let's talk about Simple Practice, for example. The AI note taker within Simple Practice does claim that the only learning that it does is within your own system. So the only learning it does is how you edit the note, that it doesn't learn or hold anything into the cloud. And it's like that's like the statement that they give on their
Yes,
system. But
but like,
but the trust of that feels weird.
yes, but that's exactly what I'm saying because I'm sure
Yeah.
in the fine print is also we only keep these like recorded sessions for this amount of time and then it gets deleted forever, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like you can't ensure that.
Right. Right.
Like,
Like I would need to see the legitimate proof that it is gone and wiped and disappeared forever and ever and ever, and nothing is gone forever in the world that we live in anymore.
right. Whereas in like a medical setting, this might sound kind of bad. It feels like I'm almost like wanting to dodge accountability, which is not it. There's so much malpractice that's happening and
Hmm.
so much like of patients being dismissed, things not getting recorded when they should, and also the idea that doctors have way too many patients that they're seeing and they can't keep up with
Yeah.
documentation anyways. So to
Hmm.
me, I actually think it's a benefit to have AI because there might be a little bit more like accountability in terms of what's getting documented for both the
Yeah.
patient and the doctor. So I say that
Hmm.
not because my doctor uses AI and she asks me every time we get into an appointment and I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Because I can tell that girl's behind in documentation. I was like, don't worry, girl. I'll do you a solid. You can use AI. It's okay. Like, I don't mind. Like, anything
Yeah.
that's in my medical chart, I've probably already blabbed to like anyone that would listen anyway. So, like, it's fine.
Same. Yeah.
Right. Like, there seems to be, like, I'm not as concerned about my privacy when it comes to my medical record, but I am more concerned
Right.
about it when it comes to my mental health record. And technically, they are two different things. But yeah, so it's like, I say that not because I don't want to be held accountable as a therapist if I'm like doing crappy things. Like, I should absolutely be held
Hmm.
accountable. But the
Yeah.
medical system feels different to me because it's a lot more transactional and also because
Yeah.
there's like a lot of malpractice that happens.
Totally. And I think within our field, like we said at the beginning, it is so relational and there's so much nuance in a conversation that even AI is learning from our sessions, if that is the case, if it's doing that, then it's probably not fully comprehending the context and the relational aspect and the biological aspect of that. And it's not going to
Mm,
relay it correctly, right? Like if
yeah.
somebody goes on to Gemini or ChatGPT and they're like, help me figure out if I should break up with this person, which people do all the time, like maybe you've made your chat gpt to be sassy and it says something and then you take it seriously when you don't need to take it serious, when it's like not intended to be serious, like it's just
Mm,
it's sketchy, or it's like taking information that it's learning from therapists and spitting it back, and maybe it's like something that's inappropriately said, right? Like I don't know, it's not, it's very risky, and like there is no ethics or code of ethics or guidelines on AI right now. It just makes me nervous, and I'd rather like I'm efficient, I can do it myself.
but yeah, and I mean, like, let's be honest, this is one of those situations where we won't have laws around it until there's a legal case.
Right. Which like
And then it sets a precedent, which, like, I'm not going to get into, like, how crappy of a system that is.
right,
But what I will say, like,
right.
as a clinician, if I was to use an AI note taker, and since it's so new, I'm kind of like
Mhm.
signing myself up to be a part of the group of potential clinicians where there could be a legal case
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
my
for sure.
client, and it could become all about, like, well, what was actually happening in these sessions, and did the AI note taker this or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I could be the first legal example of how
Hmm.
there's regulation in the field about AI. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, totally. Totally makes sense. I think it also, brings up an additional point to this note taker is like if you're not reviewing what it's saying, then you're just like setting yourself up for higher
Yeah, but
risk with
like,
that too.
how do you prove that you've reviewed it?
Oh, I'm just saying, like, if you're just using the note taker and signing, you're not reading it, you're not looking it over. This AI note taker could be writing the craziest bullshit, and then you could get those notes subpoenaed and be like, wait, what the fuck? Like, what did I do? Right. And like, not saying you
Yeah.
have to prove it, but like you could just get yourself into a whole mess of trouble. And
Yeah.
to me, like, why would like why am I using an AI note taker if I would just have to review it? Like, like that defeats the purpose to me.
Well, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now that we've talked about this for a little bit, it reminded me, I heard from somebody in the field that a practice was using an AI auditor for
Huh.
client files, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I think it's interesting for a variety of reasons. And I think as an auditing tool, I think it could be really helpful.
Hmm.
But then you still land in this conversation of, does the client need to consent to their client file being audited by AI?
I mean, yeah, I would think so.
I mean, I would think so too, but generally, like a practice, like a group practice, they should
Hmm.
be having some level of internal audit system that
Hmm.
the client wouldn't inherently have to consent to.
Right. Right. That's an interesting thought. And now my brain is jumping to insurance. Like, do
Like,
insurance companies use AI to audit people?
I bet they probably will. At least I think, I would think. It'd be
Yeah,
more efficient, and then they could be doing more of them. Probably.
oh, don't do more.
Well, I mean, I lived through a few like
No.
insurance audits, and there's never been any issue.
No,
I've never
same.
run into any issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
think, and usually it's state insurance that's running audits. It's very rare that private insurance
oh,
companies are
I've
running
gone through
audits.
actually a couple of private insurance audits.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Never, not like a true one. I've had like somebody's file get requested for proof of diagnosis or something, but that's about it.
Yeah, yeah, I've had it
But
for
not in private.
two of my clients, and then I also have had it for two people that I supervised. They're just like
Hmm.
random insurance audits. Just like an insurance was like, okay, pull these like 10 random client files.
That's so interesting. No, I haven't had that in since being in group or private practice, just Medicaid audits,
Yeah.
which are Medicaid audits are way more intense and like
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are.
they come and they will sit and thumb through every single file. I worked at a practice and we still had paper files when I started there, which was insane. They had an audit right when I started and the auditor like literally came to our office because we had paper files and was flipping through everything.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did in my nonprofit job, we would have yearly county audits for all of our
Yeah.
contracts because not almost all of our funding was contract based or grant
Yeah.
funded, but only a few grants. And so I went through a ton of county audits, and that was like, well, it was like, it was interesting because it was like there needed to be paper copies of everything and like a paper client file that they could thumb through, but there also had to be an electronic version and it had to match. That was the
Yeah.
worst. They had to have
Yeah.
both and that they had to like match. Anyways, and they would look through every single one because like
Yeah.
the programs were small enough where they could look through every single client file. So like
Yeah.
it was intense. Like it wasn't maybe as intense as like the Medicaid because it's a lot more stuff that they look through, but the
Yeah.
like intensity of having to have all the paper copy stuff and then the like electronic stuff and
Yeah.
they had to match. That's a lot to check through.
I think, I think AI could be super useful in those types of, excuse me, could be useful in those types of settings. But again, I just keep coming back to this idea of like, I just have no trust.
Yeah, well, it's curious because in an instance where an insurance company is going to use AI as an auditor tool, they probably wouldn't be asking their people consent. They would probably just be like, hey, just so you
Right.
know, update, policy update, you know?
Right.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, again, like I think it could be a useful tool, but it does kind of like beg the question of, well, then clients should be consenting to
Right. Right.
directly.
And then a longer term question I have for that is like, at what point is AI going to be in everything? Because it kind of is starting to get there. And like,
Yeah.
just in general, right? Like,
Mm,
I know I've seen like AI is used in this thing, but it doesn't ask you, it just says it is. And I'm like, okay, like, great. I mean, it's nothing private,
yeah.
but it's just odd, you know?
It's interesting. I feel like there's both things happening where like AI is getting pushed and rolled out and used a lot, but then I also see a lot of people being like very against it
Mm-hmm.
and very
Yep.
anti-AI. It's an interesting mix. I was trying to think about, are there areas in the field where AI would be applicable and useful in our field? Not just like
Mm,
where they are currently, like where it's
yeah.
currently getting used. And to me, I think probably the most useful, applicable, again, if you could ensure privacy, I think the most useful way that we could be having AI support the field is doing our billing.
Yeah.
Like AI should be doing our billing.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Like AI should be doing medical billing.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that would be,
Just
like to
like,
me that's like a no-brainer. Like duh, like why shouldn't it be doing
yeah.
that? Like
Yeah.
that's a perfect job for AI is like
It
billing. It's like
also,
the numbers essentially.
yeah, and we could get into billing at some point down the line too, but like billing oddly, like us submitting our billing and our claims to insurance, that doesn't take that long. But like it'd be nice if it just did it by itself, right? But the piece that's just like you could probably use AI to pay us a little faster and like give us our remittance a little faster cuz why the heck is that taking so long?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if kind of like the whole system had AI support, like everyone
Right.
around I think would kind of
Right.
benefit because like the insurance companies could be processing claims faster. They could be like dealing with
Mhm.
disputed claims faster. They could, you know what I mean? Like
Totally.
I think everyone would benefit if AI was supporting billing. Like, and
I
I'm not
agree.
trying to like, I don't know, completely fire an entire field of people that like do coding and billing.
Right.
Because like
Right.
you're still going to need to have a human
Yeah.
look over things, clear things, make sure like whatever.
Quality assurance.
Got it. Yes. But to me that feels like a no-brainer.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I will admit there are some really great uses for AI. Like, you and I have used it in the past for things to help support build our business, and
Yeah.
it it has been really supportive and helpful, and it can be such a great tool for neurodivergent people too. Like, I know people that use it to help them create a grocery list. And that is a very simple task that it's doing, but like I'll admit I've used it, and because I can say like I'm allergic to these things, I can't eat these things. I'm trying to adhere to this type of like nutritional support. Can you create me a grocery list for today? And I can choose to follow it or not, but it is like in those ways it's been so helpful.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about this on the podcast before, but there's something, assuming this probably neurodivergent related. I haven't quite like figured out how it boils down, but
Mm,
it's so much easier for my brain to edit something than it is to create something from scratch. And so
same.
that's where a lot of times I think AI is helpful. And like where we have used AI in, I don't know, just like setting up business forms and things like that, is we know what we need, we know generally what it needs to include, but looking at a blank page and trying to write a disclosure form, for instance, which is like probably the most critical form that you need to have as a clinician to have clients sign to consent to therapy. It's like impossible to know where to even start to write it and how to word like all these things. So AI is really great at that. So I definitely think it's a useful tool. And that was going to be like kind of
Yeah.
one of my questions is like, where do you use AI in your life? And like, is that helpful for you? And I think it's like the outsourcing of creativity in that way. Not, I don't know if creativity is the best way.
It's like I want to say executive function, but it's not quite executive function.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's like outsourcing like
Initiation.
planning.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like it's like outsourcing the like startup.
One of my clients the other day said that it helps them get through their like analysis paralysis. So it's like
Hmm.
kind of that idea of like the idea of getting started on something. Like AI can really help create a structure around that and be like, here's where you start, or here like give you the rough draft of what you need to say in your form or your email or whatever, and then you can kind of go from there and edit it. And it's
Hmm.
helpful to kind of get past that analysis paralysis of like, where do I start, what do I do, how do I get this going.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother uses AI a lot and I kind of mock him for it. Mostly because I don't use it really that much. Like we have used it, absolutely. I don't think it's not
Yeah.
like I'm actively trying to avoid it or anything like that. I just
Right.
don't I don't know. There's not many times where I go to use it or think to use it. But
Right.
my brother was just telling me because he's like, you're always using it for something. And I'm like, what are you on? Like, what? And he was like, yeah, I realized I could set up AI to basically be a DM and set up a campaign for me.
DM is dungeon master for people who don't know D&D.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. And so he like set up a like D&D campaign
That's
with
so smart.
AI. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh yeah, like I kind of just like use AI almost like a game on my phone
Hmm.
because it will like
That's
give
clever.
him like choices and like it'll play out stories and like all this stuff and he'll have to like roll."
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really clever.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool." Still probably wouldn't use it for that, but like cool. Yeah, okay. Like
Right.
but I
Right.
swear he's always figuring out a new way to like he's like planned a house that he's like nowhere close to building through AI. And I'm like one time he came over to my house, he's like,
Ooh.
"What kind of flooring is this?" And I was like, "Who are you? What? What kind of flooring? What
Now,
gene pool
now
do you think
how
we come from where I know what flooring like what kind of flooring?" He's like, "Oh,
right.
I'm just learning about flooring." I'm like, oh, "Okay. Well, good for you."
Now, maybe this is a good time to transition into the other side of AI and mental health, which is the use of AI outside of a therapist, the use of AI as mental health support. Now,
I see.
this one is dicey. I mean, like we just touched on, I think there are some benefits to supporting people with executive functioning difficulties, with ADHD, and initiating executive functions or analysis paralysis, or making like helping make
Yeah.
decisions. I've had people use it for create a workout plan when they're feeling stuck, to help them navigate certain things. But feel real icky when we start to get into things like processing emotions, relational interactions, legal advice is another one.
Yeah, that's spicy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we are starting to see issues come up with mental health and AI outside of the therapy space, meaning we are starting to see people hurt people because of AI. We are starting to see people develop full blown, I'm putting quotes around romantic, air quotes around romantic relationships and sexual intimate relationships with AI. And the American Psychological Association is looking at eventually adding AI psychosis to our diagnostic criteria.
Yeah. It's kind of inferred in the list that you mentioned, but it's also increasing suicide risk.
Yep.
So it's not just like
100%.
safety of people hurting other people, it's also like just people safety,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
is, yeah, really scary.
It's interesting to me too, because I feel like AI could have a feature in it where if somebody implied a lack of safety, that it could contact authorities. Like,
Or
it's
be
tied to
like,
your
you
IP
need to
address.
call, yeah, like, or you need to call
Yeah.
911 or
Give you
like, yeah,
crisis resources. Yeah. Like,
you'd like to think that.
and this is where we can't trust it, right? Like, this brings that piece back where we can't ensure that any of that information is safe. Just like, period, across the board, I feel like. Even if the fine print says it, or if the contract says it, or if you're signing an AI, like, there is still a part of it that, like, there's got to be a hole in everything.
Yeah, and this is another case of it's really hard for me to put myself in the shoes of someone who is thinking through something, struggling with something, feeling stuck about something life related, and where they go for advice is AI. Like,
Mm-hmm.
never in my life would I be going through something challenging, whatever it is. I mean, I don't even know. Parenting my child, navigating a new diagnosis. I mean, like, I can't even, like, anything like challenging, like a very, like, human thing to go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine being like, I really need advice. I feel stuck. I'm going to go to AI and ask them what they would do. Like, maybe as like a joke to see what it would come up with, but not like for real.
Mm-hmm.
So for people to go to AI and be asking them for like life advice is really wild to me because that I just like my brain doesn't work that way and I wouldn't do that. So I don't
Right.
understand why. But it does seem to be really alluring for people.
Yeah. I think of two things. It is accessible, which makes me cringe a little bit, makes me really sad.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, that's a fair
I,
rebuttal. Like that is fair.
yeah.
It is accessible.
And, it's accessible. People don't quite understand their insurance benefits. They don't understand the different types of therapy. They don't understand necessarily how many services are out there, right? Like, I wish
Or
that
like
could be
what
different.
therapy is, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, all the things.
So there is that. And then the other one that I don't feel is as strong of a rebuttal is the fact that we as a society have really developed a strong interest in parasocial relationships. So those, like, online relationships. And I don't think that there's anything totally wrong with having online relationships. I have met people online and I have made friends, been in Discord chats before. Like, that parasocial relationship isn't entirely bad. I've seen it work for people. But I think when we replace that parasocial relationship with a non-human, that's a problem.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, now that we're talking about it, maybe it starts as just blind curiosity.
Mm, yeah.
Of like, oh, I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what AI's like analysis would be.
Yeah.
And
And
maybe
that's fair
just
too.
like starts with blind curiosity. Like I wouldn't even put something out there like that I was actually going through to see what it would say like as a joke or like because I think it would be
Hmm.
funny. I wouldn't
Yeah.
even do that. But I could see
Hmm.
maybe somebody just being like curious, like, oh, like I wonder. Because just like you
Yeah.
said, the access is right there. It's like the tips of our fingers.
Yeah.
And just like
I
go
did
do it.
I did the other day when I got my blood work back. I was I did have that curiosity. So I was like, I am curious if I didn't put my actual blood work into Gemini, just so we are clear. I just like said, these are my numbers with these things, like, period. And I said, tell me what your analysis of this would be. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. It said right off the bat, I am not a
I'm not a
doctor.
medical
This
provider.
doesn't mean anything. And I was like, oh, interesting. I've never seen that before. Like, just like a
Like a
I was
disclaimer.
I was yeah, I was actually really happy to see the disclaimer. And then it gave me some really interesting advice where it was like, here's the lowest, most likely possible things that could be going on. And then it was like, do you want me to keep going deeper? And I was like, oh, you're actually asking. I was like, nah, it's probably just this low level thing. Like,
Like, never mind. We're
but
good.
yeah, yeah. But I was like, that's interesting. So I can see the draw in the curiosity of that and the fast access. You know, again, we are a society that's building, like, our convenience is what we strive for all the time in our society, and we can't wait for answers.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that's a
like,
very real thing too.
I think that example would is interesting. Like, could they be using AI support through like my chart for doing those things and giving like initial, like potential initial interpretations of like your labs and that you'll get like it's not official medical advice and that you'll get follow up from your provider or whatever.
Yeah,
Because generally I see like if labs are like truly concerning, they're not even going to put on your my chart first before a doctor is calling you, right?
exactly. Yeah.
So you already know if you're seeing the data results, you're okay. But still, like doctors see a ton of people and can take like days to get through lab results.
Hmm.
It's like maybe that could be a useful way to be, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even when I did get the call from my doctor, she was like, we're going to give you a referral to this specialist. And that's not what AI told me. And I was like, okay, like, that's actually really, like, great. Like, I can still kind of think about this and still move
Hmm.
forward with this thing. And, um, but when it, like, but I cannot, still in my brain cannot understand doing it for life, for like life and emotion.
Yeah, I
It's emotion is so personal. Emotion is so
nuanced.
like nuanced, and
Yeah.
what you may feel is anger, I might not feel as anger. What you might feel as joy, I might not feel as joy, and AI is not going to understand that.
Yeah, I think ultimately my stance on AI is just that there's so much we don't know about it,
Mm.
and there's so much we can't ensure or
Yeah.
predict. And because it is so new, there's no laws or regulations around it. To me,
Mhm.
it's too much of an unknown,
Yeah.
too much of a risk. And when it comes to mental health specifically, like obviously we're not trying to poo-poo AI. Like I think there are real life
Right.
places where it can be helpful, like we talked about, where AI could be
Hmm.
supportive in this specific field. But for mental health specifically, like I want to be as protective as possible around mental health
Hmm. Yeah.
because when it's not protected, then we're landing in safety risk zone. And I don't like that, and nobody likes that. And so I am way more gun shy about bringing AI into the mental health field than I would be
Hmm.
about maybe other fields where it could be supportive or helpful
Yeah.
or make things faster or whatever the case may be. But
Hmm.
ultimately, like I'm very tenuous about
Yeah.
AI, especially
Yeah.
specifically AI note taker. If there were such things as like AI auditing tools, AI billing support, very much I think behind those things. AI note
Hmm.
taker, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with reason, maybe there's like
Yes. Yeah.
there's a line. I mean, again, educationally, I think we all should learn how to do things by hand,
Yes.
like,
Yeah. That's
across the
important.
board. right? Like, even I think we should all learn our executive functions. Like, we should learn how to do the dishes. If you choose to have somebody come do the dishes for you, that's great. But like, I think like learning how to do
Mm,
that, having that skill is just as important.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
agree. It's such an
Yeah.
interesting thing. Like AI in general is such an interesting thing. So many people have different perspectives on it. And then I think
Mhm.
the conversation can shift so much depending on the application of AI. And
Right.
mental health is definitely no exception to that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's depressing for me too to watch so much funding go into AI in areas that, don't really help society with where we need the most support, and then cutting mental health support and giving that AI without giving AI regulations. Huh.
yeah, it feels like a fad, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't really think AI can be a fad. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I saw a funny video yesterday that was the question of like, do you think AI is going to take your job? And the person was automatically like, "No, you've seen the movie. It went terribly." And I was like, "Got him." Like or like Black Mirror episodes. None of those end well for anyone. I don't know if have you ever watched Black Mirror?
No, I know a little bit about it,
Ugh.
but yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all social commentary, right? And a lot of them when they first started were about like AI features and things, and none of it ends well, but it is so real. Like, it is so real.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. It's also one of those things, if you think about it, for me, if I think about it too
Hmm.
much, it kind of freaks me out. I'm like, ah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
icky, gross, no, no, no,
Yeah.
nope, don't like it.
If we can, as a evolving society, maintain boundaries and maintain regulations on this and develop skills and understanding around this, I think it could be great. I love it. Let's use it. Create me a goddamn grocery list. Love you for that. But are we going to have that? Don't have a lot of faith.
Yeah, yeah, I don't either. Well, if you guys out there have any thoughts, questions, comments about just like AI, mental health, or like maybe even how you have used AI and what's been helpful for you, I'm always curious
Yeah.
because like here my brother is running a like D&D campaign with AI, which I like literally would have never thought about doing. If you guys are using AI in like useful or
Ah,
interesting ways, I want to know. I'm like super curious about
totally.
that. So definitely
Totally.
share if you guys are doing
And
that.
if anyone says that they've made an AI headshot, get out of here. Do not even leave a comment.
Yeah, we didn't really touch that on that, like AI art. Eh.
It, I, I could talk about AI in the art field for a whole nother 45 minutes.
I feel like I could sum it up with no.
Correct. Correct. Hire
Perfect.
your local photographer. There are tons of us out there, and we would love to take your headshot.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. I can tell that it's AI.
It is so real. Yeah, it's kind of freaky, honestly. Thanks, y'all, for
Yeah.
coming on this journey with us as usual. Like I said, if you've been using AI and you found things that have been helpful for you, supportive for you, please share them. We want to know. We're curious. If you guys have
Yep.
any thoughts or questions about things you want us to talk about within the field, always let us know. We're coming up with these on the fly. Like I surprised Andrea with this topic today. So if you ever have ideas for us, definitely let us know. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Other than that, you guys, we will catch you all in the next episode. Y'all take care.
Bye.
This podcast is for entertainment, informational, and educational purposes only. Although the hosts are licensed therapists, this podcast is not a substitute for professional mental health services. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship.
If you are experiencing mental health concerns, please seek help from a qualified mental health professional in your area. If you are in crisis, call or text a suicide prevention line in your country immediately. In the U.S., you can call or text 988 or use online chat at 988lifeline.org.